What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Radical Red and today's challenge will be another monotype randomizer. As in I'm just going to pick from the wheel. So our monotype for this week is going to be Psychic type, which we're actually thinning down the wheel a lot. Like you can see, like there's a lot more color on the wheel than names now, and you can see there's some hard ones left. Like I don't know how to do fire, ice, I don't know, those seem to be the hardest, but today we got Psychic, which is interesting. I'll get to that in a little bit, but essentially what we're doing, we're playing on Pokemon Radical Red, which is one of the hardest ROM hacks ever made, and we're playing on their hardest mode, hardcore mode, which limits the player by a lot. You can't use specific moves, the AI has more advantages, but you do get infinite rare candies and you get easy catching, so like everything catches on one ball anyway, so you don't have to struggle that way, you don't have to grind, but everything else is a grind as you have to face off against a lot of difficult enemies. To rectify this, to make it more fun for everyone, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in comments, so thanks so much for leaving a nickname in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while it's down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, it means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself because it's gonna be a little difficult. So our first Pokemon is gonna be a Fennekin. I believe it's the only starter that evolves into a Psychic type. Even Braixen's not a Psychic type, so we have to wait until it's a Delphox. So we have to go out and catch some more Pokemon. We're gonna catch Abra, probably one of the coolest Pokemon. We also get a Meditite, which is really nice. I'm not gonna show every single capture because it's gonna take a little while. We're gonna do some PC updates. I haven't done that in a few videos now, but I'm gonna bring them back. But this time around, we're able to beat down the first few bosses. We have some repeat Pokemons because we ran out of Psychic type Pokemons, but once we get into Pewter City, that changes as we get more Psychic type Pokemon, especially in the cave and out in the grass right here. And we also grind up in the grass area in Route 3 to get ourselves a Twisted Spoon, which boosts Psychic type moves, which, I mean, honestly, is a really good early game item because it just boosts damage. And then from there, we're going to go into this Egg Merchant. We did get a Wynot, but I wasn't really feeling Wynots this video, so I'm going to keep resetting until I get something cool. There is a chance we get a very special Pokemon. We'll cover that in a little bit if you guys don't know, but we don't get anything from the Egg Merchant this time around, so we decided to just move ahead and face off against Faulkner. Now facing off against Faulkner, we're going to easily beat down his team because we have a Kadabra with the Magic Spoon, the Twisted Spoon. The Magic Spoon would have been a different element. From there, we're going to beat Faulkner, and then from there, we're going to face off against Brock. We're going to start the battle off against Brock using my Execute. Now Execute's able to Hypnosis down the Hippopotas and then Bullet Seed into the Leap, which I'm okay with because I need chip damage, as much chip damage on the Leap as I can. Unfortunately, Execute will go down, so I gotta go out to my Meditite. Meditite is able to actually two-shot into the Lunatone as he switches out into his Lunatone, and then from there he's going to switch out into his Cacnea, which I do have my Rapska, which will pivot into him and face off against the Cacnea. Barely survive a Pin Missile, but we're able to beat down the Cacnea. It was going to go down to the Arcan, which is fine. From there, I'm going to switch out into my Esper to get Paralyzed on the Arcan. Esper is going to be very useful with Prankster. And then from there, I'm going to go out into my Meditite to Rock Tomb, knock out the Arcan, and also Force Pump into the room to two-shot him actually. So from there, we're actually able to survive the Toxic, knock out the Leap as well. And from there, my Meditite goes down, but his final Pokemon will be a Hippopotas, which we're able to two-shot with my Kadabra with a Twisted Spoon. And we didn't need my Bronzor at all, surprisingly. Now moving on, we're going to face off against the Whimsicott, this boss trainer with a Whimsicott, a Mawile. It's very annoying. This trainer is not that fun, but we're able to get past her. And then from there, we're going to face off against the Scientist in Mount Moon. Once we beat the Scientist, we're going to face off against Archer, a Team Rocket boss admin. We actually beat him without healing our Pokemon, so that means we didn't die on him and then reset in front of the Poke Center outside of Mount Moon. We actually just straight up beat him without healing. So yeah, that's how good my team is. So from there, once we beat Archer, we can actually go back into the Pewter City Egg Merchant, and we actually hatch ourselves a Cosmog, which I think is the rarest encounter you can get from the eggs, and we actually got him, and I'm like, well, that's pretty good. So we go back, we're gonna get ourselves, I believe, something else in the Cerulean City Egg Merchant. We got a Galarian Slowpoke, which is interesting. From there, we can move on and face off against Misty next. Misty is the second gym leader in the game. We're gonna start the battle off against her using my Kadabra against her Politoed, which I'm able to I don't know why I Psybeam and then Energy Ball, but it works out as we're able to beat down the Politoed. From there, she can switch out to her Manton. I'm like, hopefully I don't know why I thought I was gonna outspeed for a second, so I'm gonna switch out into my Slowpoke just to sack it because unfortunately it's not a water type. From there, I'm gonna go out to my Meowstic, which has Prankster. I'm able to Thunder Wave into him and then actually chip him down into Side Shock range. I know he's gonna switch out because he's gonna save it for later. I'm gonna Thunder Wave into the Starmie, and then from there I can Light Screen up and Meowstic survived for a long time, so I didn't expect that. I go out to my Rapska and then Struggle Bug into the Starmie to hopefully lower the special attack. But she's going to switch out to her Ludicolo as we're able to actually beat it down because just Struggle Bug actually chips down Ludicolo's special attack so much. It forced her to let me knock out her Ludicolo. And then from there, she's going to switch out into her Starmie. I don't think I outspeed even with the Thunder Wave. So from there, I'm going to sack my Meditite, go out to my Cadaver to Energy Ball, and then chip it down to low HP. And then my Rapska comes out, and I was right. My Rapska does not outspeed a Starmie even through Paralyzed, but it gets paralyzed where the Struggle Bug and knock out the Starmie. From there, she can switch out to her Toxicroak. I survive a Sucker Punch, surprisingly. Extra Sensory to knock out a Toxicroak, and also 2 extra Sensory to knock out the Clogsire. And then from there, the Mantine gets paralyzed as well, as we're able to knock out the Mantine and beat down Misty. Just my Rapska got very lucky in that, and we're able to clear through Misty and then move on. From there, we're going to go into Vermilion City. And we got a bunch of new Pokemon, which aren't that great, I'm not gonna lie. So we're just gonna start using the Egg Merchant. Maybe we get something good from this. Maybe we get like maybe we get something good from it. We got a Cubfu, which I'm like, that would be useful later on in our fighting type only. And then we get a second Cosmog from this egg. I'm like, what are the chances? I'm not too sure if there's a percentage or they're all random, but 2 Cosmogs, that means we could do something very cool later on. But from there, we're going to move on into the SSN, clear through the SSN pretty easily, beat down the Water Trainer, and also beat down our rival, which actually gave us a bit of trouble because our team is not made for fighting. Still really, like, underpowered, surprisingly. We got a bunch of cool Pokemon, still a little bit underpowered. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Lieutenant Surge next. Lieutenant Surge is the 3rd gym leader in the game, and he has infinite electric terrain. So I start the battle off against him using my Lunatone, and then from there I'm gonna Rock Slide into his Rotom Frost, which forces him to switch out for some reason because I outspeed, and then I'll Luminian Crash into the Ampharos 3 times to knock out the Ampharos. From there he's gonna switch out into his Electrode, which I was trying to bait in the Explosion, which didn't work out too well. I go out into my Bronzong, which eventually will knock him out. Well, he's gonna knock himself out, and I get Hypnosis on the Rotom, which I think was a misplay. I didn't mean to press Hypnosis. I think I meant to press Psychic Shield. But unfortunately, I mean, I guess it worked out. I'm also able to crit down the Raichu, forcing it to hit me, and I'm able to survive Rising Voltage and Bodos to knock out the Raichu. Palnon's gonna knock me out, which is okay because I still have 5 Pokemon on my team. I go out to my Rapska, which will knock out the Palnon for me, and then from there, the Hitmonlee knocks out my Rapska. I go out to my Gardevoir, which will knock out the Hitmonlee, and then the Electrode will go down to itself because it has Life Orb, and then I can knock out the Rotom Frost with my Lunatone as we're to beat down Lieutenant Surge. And yeah, that was an interesting battle at least. From there, I can heal up my Pokemon as we head into the Rock Tunnel and then face off against the final trainer on this route right before Lavender Town. We're going to beat him down pretty easily, and then from there, we finally use our Fennekin and fully evolve into a Delphox. We're going to move on and face off against another boss trainer. We're going to face off against this trainer, which really blocks a bunch of priority moves, and then, you know, all we got to do is beat down the Serena, and then we can paralyze everything. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Erica next. Erica's gonna be the 4th gym leader in the game, and this battle went as well as you would think. So we start the battle off against her using my Medicham, fake out into high jump kick, knocks out the Crayola. I'm like, okay, well that was easy. From there I can Zen Headbutt into the Slowbro, and I don't really knock him out. He knocks me out, and I don't do any damage. Go out to my Twisted Spoon Alakazam, which does so much damage to the Slowbro and the Sceptile as she switches out. She's gonna knock me out, and she's gonna outspeed me with her Mega Sceptile. But I go out into my Meowstic, which will force it to Swords Dance for some reason and let me knock him out. So we'll take that. From there, she switches out to her Kartana. I go out to my Delphox and I survive a Grassy Glide, which from there I could just Flamethrower or Mystical Fire and knock out the Kartana. And then I could get a Psychic off against the Slowbro. The special defense drops, so it's going to be forced to switch out, but it's not like I got anything else to do. So Psychic down to Hawlucha, and then from there, she switched out to her Toxtree, which would knock me out with a Boom Burst, but I got 2 Pokemon left, so I should be fine. I go out to my own Slowbro, which would knock out her Slowbro, and her final Pokemon will be a Toxtree, which would knock me out, but I do have a Rapska, which is super defensive. I can knock out a Toxtree, but it knocks itself out, as we're able to beat down Erica, and yeah, first Strider. And then from there, we can face off against Giovanni. Giovanni's a pretty easy fight as well. We're able to just pivot around, and eventually Medicham just jump kicks into the Kangaskhan, and we're able to beat down Giovanni. From there, there's a lot of things that opens up for us, as in the level cap actually jumps up so far that we can actually evolve our Cosmoem into a Lunala, which is crazy. And then also evolve our other one into a Solgaleo, and I'm like, oof, okay, this is gonna be pretty cool. We get the Pokeflute from the Lavender Tower, and then also beat down Morty to get ourselves the Shadow Ball TM. Pretty useful later on. And then from there, we're gonna move on into Silphco, where we're able to beat down our rival pretty easily. And then from there, we're able to move on and face off against Archer and Ariana pretty easy fight again, and then face off against Giovanni again. I just realized every single fight ended with Solgaleo just cooking everything. So yeah, Solgaleo is pretty fun to use. Surprisingly, it was kind of underwhelming. Even though I show you 3 fights back to back, it was a little bit underwhelming. Lunala's always been my favorite. Maybe I'm a little biased, but from there we're gonna face off against Chuck and also get ourselves the Focus Sash, and then we're gonna move on and face off against Sabrina. Sabrina's fight was actually difficult because a lot of my Pokemon were really fast, so we're gonna start the battle off against her, ironically using my Gallade and Hatterene. Gallade's really fast, but I'm gonna switch out because I want to pivot out and then bait in the Misty Explosion, which works out pretty well. Misty Explosion gets the Tapu Fini knocked out and also knocks on my Hatterene and also put down the camera up to low HP. From there, I can switch out to my Lunala, which will survive a Flamethrower and also a Water Spout. Which we're able to knock out the Jellicent with, able to also knock out the camera with low HP. So from there, we're actually in the lead a little bit as my Lunala is at 1 HP. I set on my Mega Gallade next. My Mega Gallade is able to go for a close combat to the Glacier, which would knock him out, and then it's gonna knock out my Lunala as well. So we actually take the trade as Sabrina's down to 2 Pokemon left. I go out into my Delphox next, which has a Focus Sash. I'm gonna bait in her Pokemon to attack my Gallade, which works out. My Gallade goes down. I still have HP on my Delphox, which will Flamethrower into the Magearna and knock him out. And from there, Exactador is my last Pokemon, which isn't the greatest choice, but it works out. At the end, I'm into Leaf Storm and Flamethrower into the Iron Hands as we're ready to beat down Sabrina. And yeah, not bad fight, not bad fight. From there, we're able to actually go down Cycling Road and not have any issues at all. No complaints. This challenge actually was super fast. We're actually at the only 3-hour mark when we get into Fuchsia City, and then from there we get a bunch of Egg Moves. We get Shadow Sneak on our Gallade, which will be useful, and we're gonna face up against Brendan. Once we beat Brendan, we're able to go into the Safari Zone, get our HMs of course, and then go out. We have to rematch the first 3 gym leaders in the game, so we're gonna face off against Brock again. This time around, he has Infinite Sandstorm, and also he has a boost up where I think Rock type Pokemon resist super effective moves by 25% or something like that, but we're able to still beat him, which is really nice. From there, we're gonna face off against Misty. Misty has Infinite Rain, which is kind of annoying, but not the worst thing. I think this stipulation is the most fair as we're to beat down her team, and then from there we're able to face off against Lieutenant Surge, which has infinite electric terrain, but also you can't use any ground moves against him. So yeah, looking out for us, Solgaleo is actually just so strong that it just knocks out most of his Pokemon, and we're able to just clean up the rest with my Alakazam. So we're no need to Mega Evolve, but we're still able to beat Lieutenant Surge. From there, we're gonna face off against Koga, and Koga is the start of very not fair terrain. So he has infinite Psychic Terrain and infinite Tailwind, so that's a little annoying. So you can't use priority moves against him. We're gonna start the battle off against him using my Solgaleo against his Tapu Lele. We take a hit in Power Fire, and then we're able to knock him out with my Sunsteel Strike. From there, he's gonna send out his Hooper Unbound, which will knock out my Solgaleo, obviously. I go out into my Gardevoir next, which Gardevoir is the only Pokemon in my arsenal that can survive a Dark Hole Eclipse without a Focus Sash. So we're able to just barely survive. We take a Draining Kiss to get my HP back and then survive Dark Pulse, and then Hypnosis it, kind of out of order, but it works out. I'm into Moonblast and knock out the Hoopa. From there, he's gonna switch out to a Shiyu, which I just let him knock me out, which is fine. From some reason, I thought I'd kill him with my Alakazam, which Focus Blast almost does, but he has a Focus Sash, and then he's gonna knock me out. I go out into my Hatterene, which will knock him out, which is fine. His next Pokemon will be a Toxicity, which will knock out my Hatterene. But I go out into my Lunala, which actually scares him and goes out to his Crocodile, which works for me. I go out to my Gallade. I'm able to go for a close combat and knock him out. I also have a Focus Sash on, so I could actually survive a move against the Mega Toxicity, and a Psycho Cut to knock him out. And his final Pokemon will be a Needle King, which I go out to my Lunala, and Lunala's Psychic in Psychic Terrain would knock him out 3 times probably. So we're able to beat down Koga and also get ourselves, actually no, our Alakazam's not fast enough to get ourselves the Life Orb, so we decided not to get the Life Orb because it's the fastest Pokemon on my team. From there, we're going to face off against Price next. Price isn't a difficult fight at all. We're going to clear through him pretty easily. And then from there, we're able to move out and face off against May. We actually skipped Jasmine this time around because we don't need Jasmine. We're able to beat down May. And from there, we're able to face off against the trainers in Cinnabar Mansion. And also face off against Blaine's trainers in his gym. And from there, we're actually set up to face off against Blaine. Now, Blaine has Infinite Desolate Land, which means he has Infinite Sun. And also, you can't use water moves against his team. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Solgaleo against the Sandy Shock. It works out pretty well. I'm able to survive an Earth Power and then Bulldoze into him. And then Flare Blitz to knock him out, which works out. Okay, it didn't knock him out, so I lied. I don't remember this apparently. Go out to Delphox. Delphox able to Flamethrower and knock out a Sandy Shock. His next Pokemon will be a Walking Wake, which we can't really let him just get away with. I go out to my Meowstic. Looks like I'm losing this fight, I'm not going to lie. But I get a Paralyze on the Walking Wake. and from there I can switch out into my Lunala, which will catch the Ho-Oh with a Hypnosis, and then from there I go out to my Lunatone, and Lunatone has another appearance. Surprisingly, Lunatone's able to Stone Edge into the Ho-Oh and knock him out. And then from there, I'm able to survive a Solar Beam as well, and then Stone Edge to knock out the Ho-Oh. And here is your Ho-Oh Destroyer Lunatone. So that's a weird timeline we're living in. From there, I can switch out into my Lunala to knock out the Venusaur, as in I missed 2 Hypnosis, but then I survive a Solar Beam thanks to my Shadow Shield, and I'm able to knock out the Venusaur from there. From there, he sends out his Mega Charizard X, and stayed in and just let him kill me. I go out to my Mega Alakazam, and it doesn't kill him. Actually does kill him. I go down with him with his Flare Blitz, and his final Pokemon will be Walking Wake, which actually is a pretty bad matchup for me, but I lucky enough survive a Draco Barrage, and I outspeed him and knock him out with a Psychic. And his final Pokemon will be a Great Toss, and that thing he is hiding in the back for so long. Eventually he goes down in one shot as well, as we're able to beat down Blaine. And now we can move out and face off against Archer. And Archer, pretty easy fight. We had to sacrifice Meowstic, which is unfortunate, but I go out into my Gallade. And Gallade's able to knock out the Houndoom, but unfortunately we're able to, lose my Gallades. We lose 2 Pokemon against Archer, and then from there we can move on and face off against Ariana, which is actually an easier fight. All we gotta do is make sure we knock out the Wailord, which I believe he's more physically defensive. I can't remember if he's more physically. I think he's more physically defensive. Once we get our Metagross out, he has a Meteor Mash attack boost, and from there I can sweep down most of his team, and from there Alakazam finished the job. We're able to beat down Ariana, and we're gonna move out and face off against Giovanni in this kind of 6v6. I mean, we have 3 Pokemon from Lance's, 3 Pokemon from ours. We also need a Dark type Pokemon just to even out the score and beat down Mewtwo, which is probably the only thing we really need. From there, once we beat Giovanni, we're able to move out and face off against Clair, the 8th gym leader in the game. We're gonna start the battle off against her using my Solgaleo. Solgaleo is able to Iron Head and flinch the Shuckle. From there, I could actually just knock him out with an Iron Head, so we just can force him out into Ultra Necrozma, which I'm able to get a Bulldoze off against, and then Sunsteel Strike to knock out. Her next Pokemon will be a Roaring Moon, which would knock me out, but I'm able to go out into my Gallade. It's not a Mega Pokemon, it has a Focus Sash on, and it's able to close combat and knock out the Roaring Moon. From there, her next Pokemon will be Eternatus, which would knock me out, which is unfortunate, but I can go out into my Alakazam, which will almost one-shot him with a Psychic, but unfortunately, it's not that strong. I'm able to survive a Dynamax Cannon, which is surprising, so we're able to knock out the Eternatus. Her next Pokemon will be the Shuckle, which I couldn't knock him out with a Focus Blast, but I took this time to recover and then Focus Blast to knock out the Shuckle. And then her next Pokemon will be a Magearna, which are able to Focus Blast into lower the special defense as well. From there, I missed a Focus Blast, which is kind of unfortunate, but you know what? It had to come. From there, I got to my Metagross, which will Meteor Mash and Bullet Punch to knock out the Magearna. And then her final Pokemon will be a Duraludon, which doesn't knock out my Metagross, which is surprising. I'm able to actually Hammer Arm into him. And then from there, I got to my Meowsticks, Light Screen, and Thunder Wave to make sure I knock out Duraludon or get speed him with my Lunala. And from there, we're the Moongeist Beam and knock out Duraludon as we're to beat down Clair. Now moving on, we gotta face off against our rivals. Face off against our rival in Route 22, and then from there we're gonna move out, face off against our rival in Route 23, which is gonna be Brendan. Brendan's harder fight. I'm not gonna lie, we lost a few times against him, and then from there we're gonna go into Victory Road, go past Victory Road, obviously, and then face off against his trainer at the gates of the Indigo Plateau, which we get the Megastone for Metagross, and then from there we gotta build our team. So our team is gonna be completely different from what we ran through in the game. So we're actually gonna start farming up Genesect raids. Genesect's not a psychic Pokemon, we just need Genesect raids, so we get the Choice Scarf from him. Once we get 3 Choice Scarves from the Genesect raids, to go back and face off against the Jirachi raids. And then from there, once we beat the Jirachis in here and catch Jirachi, it's actually a Psychic and Steel type Pokemon, so we're actually able to capture it, add it to our team. And from there we can move out into Route 3 and then start hunting out for Latios. And Latios, Psychic, and Dragon, and our team is looking pretty crazy. Luckily for us, we also get Mystical Fire on our Latios, and then from there, we're gonna move on into the Elite Four. Unfortunately, we forgot to get the Focus Sash, so my team actually consists of Latios, Solgaleo, Lunala, Jirachi, Meowstic, and Mega Metagross, but unfortunately I forgot the Focus Sash, so we have to run through the entire Elite Four without a Focus Sash, which is kind of annoying. So we start the battle off against Lorelei, her water team this time. She has Infinite Brain and a lot of strong Pokemon, so we're gonna start the battle off against her using my Meowstic and Lunala. We're gonna Hypnosis into the Iron Bundle as my Meowstic gets Fake Out, and then from there I can set up Light Screen or Thunder Wave. Either one's pretty good. I decided to go out for Light Screen and then start chipping down the Ludicolo as the Iron Bundle just goes for Protect. From there, I'm able to go for a Thunder Wave into the Genesect, and then I'm able to Moongeist Beam into the Genesect as well. It doesn't do a lot of damage, I'm not gonna lie. I go out to my Metagross as my Lunala goes down. I'm able to Hammer Arm into the Iron Bundle, and then from there, switch out into my Jirachi as she switched out into her Dragonite. And then from there, I'm hoping for some kind of Zen Headbutt flinches, which works out. Palkia gets flinched, and then from there, I'm able to flinch down into the Dragonite. Unfortunately, my Metagross goes down, and Dragonite does not get flinched. So I go out to my Solgaleo, which would knock out the Palkia. I'm hoping for a flinch on the Dragonite, which works out. From there, her next Pokemon will be a Genesect and her Dragonite, so I'm able to chip down both sides. Unfortunately, Jirachi goes down, but my Latios in the back will outspeed everything, so we're to Zen Headbutt into the Genesect and then Psychic into the Dragonite, which works out. And then from there, her final Pokemon will be a Mega Swampert, which will outspeed me, but can't knock both of my Pokemon out on one move. So we're able to just Zen Headbutt and knock out the Swampert in 2 turns. We're able to beat him down, and we're able to beat down Lorelei, which, you know, was pretty easy. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Bruno. Bruno's going to start the battle off against us using an Infernape. I go for Metagross, and I don't Mega for some reason. I Mega on the second turn, and then Bullet Punch to knock him out. The next Pokemon will be a Zeraora, which I just Zen Headbutt 3 times against, which works out pretty well as he's unable to knock me out. I'm able to even get a Bullet Punch off against his next Pokemon, Zacian. So, pretty good against Bruno to start. 2 Pokemon down. From there, I go out to my Jirachi, which will Iron Head into the Zacian, force him to flinch, and then force him to switch out. He goes out to his Lucario, which I crit as well, so Jirachi's already proving it's really good. I go out to my Solgaleo against the Lucario. I went for a Zen Headbutt flinch, and then it didn't work out. He's going to close combat and knock me out. But he's at low HP, which allows me to go out to my Jirachi, Iron Head to knock him out. His next Pokemon will be a Necrozma, which I flinched him, but then I'm realizing it's not doing a lot of damage. I go out into my Latios, which will get, unfortunately, Sunsteel Straked and gets knocked out. So that's kind of unfortunate. I go for a Fake Out and then Light Screen. So I just threw with my Meowstic's useless at this point because it doesn't have a Focus Sash. But I go out to my Lunala. Lunala is able to go for a Moongeist Beam as he goes for Dragon Dance for some reason. And then from there, I'm able to knock him out as he just lets me kill him. His next Pokemon will be a Zacian. I survive a Behemoth Blade and I knock him out with a Moongeist Beam. His final Pokemon will be an Iron Valiant as he knocks out my Lunala. But I go out to my Jirachi. Outspeed him. It doesn't outspeed him. Remember, I lied. Iron Head into the Iron Valiant, but unfortunately, he outspeeds me. But I'm able to survive a Shadow Ball and knock him out with another Iron Head as we're to beat down Bruno. And yeah, this Elite Four is going pretty easy. Not gonna lie. From there, we can move on and face off against Agatha next. Agatha takes a little bit. We gotta restart in front of her. It's just a few times. You gotta Iron Head into her until she flinches down. Unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work out for me, so you know what? These are the parts where you're not supposed to see, but yeah, we're gonna Iron Head flinch into the Crocodile goes down, and then switch out into my Metagross to Meteor Mash into the Yveltal, and then from there, he's gonna Dark Hole me and kill me, so that's not the greatest sign. I go out to my Latios next with a Choice Scarf and Thunderbolt to knock out the Yveltal. Her next Pokemon will be a Mewtwo. I'm looking for a Paralyze. Doesn't get it. And then I crit it, and I knock out the Mewtwo. So, you know what? We take it. From there, her next Pokemon will be a Victini, which, again, I did not expect to kill. As her only move was Expanding Force, I tank it pretty easily. Even with a Z Celebrate, I'm going to still outspeed him and knock him out with a Thunderbolt. So, we knock out 3 Pokemon with Latios. So, we'll take that, I guess. I don't know. From there, I go out to my Solgaleo, which will Bulldoze into the Flutter Mane because we wanted to lower his speed. And then from there, I can sack my Solgaleo to the Flutter Mane. I go out to my Jirachi to knock him out. And then her final Pokemon will be a Calyrex, which we just kind of bank on flinches to happen. And we're able to knock out the Calyrex as we're to beat down Agatha. And yeah, we'll take that. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Lance next. And Lance, the only way for us to beat Lance, well, the only way I want to beat Lance is Dragon Breath into the Glimmora and paralyze it. So from there, I'm going to go for a Mystical Fire against the Melmetal, and then, yeah, chip it down. I assumed, this is like my first time, I never got this far, but I assumed I was going to be able to knock out the Melmetal with Mystical Fire. I was wrong, so Latios goes down because I'm just stupid, and then from there, I got to my Lunala. Lunala is able to knock out the Melmetal, and then his next Pokemon will be a Mega Ray, which I go for Moongeist Beam as he goes for Dragon Ascent. I tank it very easily, by the way, so from there, I can outspeed him, Moongeist Beam to knock him out. And then from there, his next Pokemon will be a Dragonite, which, again, Moongeist Beam, and 2 shots into him. I still outspeed him with the Dragon Dance, so knock out his Dragonite as well. And then from there, his next Pokemon will be a Dialga. Primal Dialga gets kind of chipped down with Moongeist Beam, so he roars to time me out into my Metagross, which I'm going to hammer him into him. And then from there, he's going to roar to time me out. My Solgaleo, which actually I pivot out into my Metagross, which allows me to go for some Hammer Arms and then Bulldoze into him. He's going to Flash Cannon into my Solgaleo, which works out because eventually he gets annoyed at me. Roar times me out into my Lunala. I'm going to bait him to knock me out as I knock him down to low HP, allowing me to go out into my Metagross to Hammer Arm and knock out the Dialga. And it's from there, his next Pokemon will be Arceus Fairy. I allowed him to knock me out, but luckily for us, we're able to survive a flamethrower and then meter mash into the RCS to knock him out, which is pretty free. And his final opponent will be the Glamora from earlier. We're able to one-shot him and even get the attack boost just to rub it in. So BMing, so we're able to beat down Lance, and then from there, we're able to move on and face off against the final Elite Four member in the game. We're able to face off against the champion. We're going to start the battle off against Blue using my Meowstic. So against his Primal Kyogre, which has Infinite Rain, we're able to go for a fake out against him and then Light Screen, take an Origin Post pretty easily. Pretty easily is an interesting take I got out of that. I still get a Paralyze against the Kyogre, and then from there I can move out into my Mega Metagross, which will then headbutt into him. I get a Flinch and then Paralyze, which is very lucky for us, as we're able to beat down the Kyogre without taking any damage. And Light Screen wears off, but his next opponent will be a Walking Wake, which allows me to go for Zen Headbutt. I'm going to sack my Metagross for some reason, but Walking Wake knocks out my Metagross. I go out to my most annoying Pokemon possible, my Jirachi, which will then headbutt twice into the Walking Wake, which will knock him out. His next opponent will be an RCS Extreme Killer. Go out into my Solgaleo, which is able to Sunsteel Strike into him twice, and then from there he's going to knock me down to low HP. I obviously know he's going to go for Extreme Speed. Go out to my Lunala, obviously block the Extreme Speed. Outspeed him with Psychic to knock him out, and then his next opponent will be an Ultra Necrozma, which I wasn't ready for, but I go for Psychic anyways, looking for any chip damage, and he kept going for Dragon. He went for 3 Dragon Dances. I survived an Earthquake because of Shadow Shield, and then from there, I also survived a Photon Geyser, so I'm able to knock out his Ultra Necrozma, which is my Lunala. So, yeah, that thing's pretty strong. So from there, he switched out to his Eternatus, and he's going to knock me out, obviously. From there, I go out into my Jirachi, and most annoying Pokemon is back again, as I'm able to Iron Head into him, eventually knock him out, which is very easy. From there, his next Pokemon will be a Swampert, which I am able to chip him down very far. This is his final Pokemon. I am able to get 6 flinches on him until he finally knocks me out, which it doesn't mean anything because I was kind of just trolling at the end. But I'm able to survive an Ice Punch and then Dragon Breath to knock out the Swampert. And I just realized I really think those Iron Head flinches actually matter, because I was just trolling at the end. But I don't think the rest of my team, I don't think Solgaleo and Gladios was able to beat him without those flinches. So yeah, we're able to beat down Radical Red with only Psychic type Pokemon. So the Psychic Monotype, pretty strong. It's actually the fastest I ever beat Hardcore mode. I think it's like 5 hours, probably 5.5 hours or something like that. So it's really easy. It was pretty easy. I also messed up a lot of times. So surprisingly, if you guys want an easy Hardcore Nuzlocke, use this. I mean, obviously I have 4 legendaries and then a pseudo legendary, and also Meowstic with Infinite Prankster and Thunderwave. So yeah, pretty strong, I'm not gonna lie. But that will be it for me today. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name has been Alpha, and I hope you guys all have a great day, and I'm out. Peace.